So the number to watch is going to be 361 today. If the Dow falls by that amount, the blue chips will hit so-called correction territory as coronavirus fears weigh on global markets. Last night at the president's news conference about containing the virus, our Eamon Javers asked him if financial markets are overreacting. Here's how the president responded.
I think the financial markets are very upset when they look at the Democrat candidate standing on that stage making fools out of themselves. And they say, if we ever have a president like this, and there's always a possibility, it's an election.
Had to do with the coronavirus?
No, I think it did. I think it did. But I think you can add quite a bit of sell-off to what they're seeing.
All right, so how much of that explains today, Jim?
Well, I think that the most overshadowing thing is what happened right in the last few minutes of the press conference, which is the California discovery of someone who was in a local hospital. They didn't know it was corona, and then went to the Davis Hospital, very good hospital, where they felt that it wasn't corona, and then they started treating as corona. So we have to wonder, it would seem that every single person that person came in contact with is probably going to come down with this. It's certainly not the president's fault. I hear people like blaming the president. I also hear people saying if the Fed were to cut rates, these are parallel universes. This is really about getting sick. And I can't offer the odds that you're going to get sick. I go to the sites everybody else at Harvard Public Health. They say 60% chance that you'll get sick. I don't think it helps. I do think that the golden piece is valuable, which says no earnings growth, and obviously we're not priced for that. I do think that Microsoft's worth watching because we got a warning there, and you would have said we talked about Microsoft being down a lot ahead. Well, it didn't stop, and that immediately spilled over to Apple. We would have thought that has discounted it. So stocks haven't, the companies that were doing very well have not discounted the decline. And just in terms of the personal view that I have, I know that people aren't too young on Twitter, but when we had measles and we had chickenpox, to really default to the personal, my mother and father said, you're going to get it, okay? And it's going to be bad, and then you'll live. You'll go on. Some people, they didn't talk about somebody who would make it, but this is measles, and probably going to get it, and you never thought that you wouldn't get it. This was before the vaccine. Wasn't whooping cough, but it was measles and chickenpox. And we just said, okay, it's inevitable. Let's get through it. And maybe it's like that. And I know someone will then say, no, Jim, the death rate's blah, blah, blah. But I'm just talking about the inevitability of getting it. Seems likely.
Seems likely.
Yeah.
Well, supply chains certainly are, and the global economy's slowdown certainly seems to be reflecting fear of getting it.
Exactly.
And
Does
we're
it
not really
reflect
seeing
actually
nearly as
getting
much here as around the world. Europe, anecdotal, so much of it's anecdotal.
They don't have good
in terms of what people are seeing on the roads or in various countries at this point, in terms of the typical traffic versus what's going on.
Right. Slow down.
Economic activity has slowed. Supply chain has certainly continued to be an issue. In China as well, where,
yes,
as we pointed
HP.
out, the number of cases has slowed dramatically, new cases. But it is still a big issue in terms of people getting things on time and what it's going to mean.
Yeah, so you have to readjust downward. Look, I'm not by any means saying that it's the end of the world. It's clearly not. This is not zombie nation. I'm saying we were priced 10 days ago for things going up pretty good. So now we can't just price for things going up not as well. We have to price for things not going up in terms of economic activity. And it's, again, I'm going to reiterate, it's not, hate them or like them, it's not the president's fault. People can say, well, the CDC has been cut back. We had Dr. Fauci up there yesterday. Dr. Fauci, what did he say? When this started, he said, you know what, we're probably going to get it. And people ignored him. He's the foremost epidemiologist of our time. He said we're going to get it. So what's he going to do, get up there and say we're going to get it again? Well,
Yeah. Well, for our purposes, it's about the impact on business. I'm curious what you make of the gold.
That's really what I want to emphasize. I don't know anything.
Right. What do you think of the Goldman piece here? Because they're making some assumptions. One is that bond yields go to 1, S&P 2,900. Right. And then they do add a line here, Jim. It's striking to see. Assuming a recessionary scenario, S&P earnings fall 13 to 148.
Right. And there, I thought the Goldman piece was very sober and very intelligent. I think that the last part that you addended is going to be the one where people say that Bernie Sanders is going to get the nomination. You'll see claims rise, and there's a better chance that he wins than not. And if that's the case, then we're going to have another leg down. Now, I don't think, again, that's that revelatory. If Bernie Sanders wins, I don't think anyone thinks we'll be paying these prices.
But you just said blaming the president is a parallel universe.
Oh, no, I'm just saying if we get a recession.
we get a recession.
Recession. If we get that latter part,
then it raises the possibility that Bernie Sanders, if in fact he's the nominee, wins.
Right. But
so you think maybe this futures do reflect fears of a Democratic president?
We're getting there. Absolutely.
I think there is, in speaking to market participants, so to speak, there is definitely, we can't completely excise the impact of a Sanders nomination on the market.
That's how I feel.
It is not the overriding reason.
No, but it's
of course not.
It's back of mind.
There is something there. Even a few weeks ago, it was not being really reflected in market prices, the idea that he would be the nominee. Now it's starting to be.
And what, do you think it's involving claims, or do you think it's involving
that if in fact he is the nominee, the Democratic Party is a 79-year-old socialist, it's unlikely he's going to win.
Still unlikely.
You have to start to take into account the possibility.
But I remember, David, that you were talking about how it's too close, we shouldn't think. I think now it's in the thick of it, and we have to think.
Yes, and that's happening.
Right.
At the same time, though, that we have this potential global pandemic, which, of course, is
right. And I want to distinguish between hate him or like him. What's the president supposed to say last night? Now, we had some people on our special. One of them said, listen, he's being complacent. Well, I mean, again, I'm going to bring up the measles. It's like, listen, you're going to get the measles, okay? What is he supposed to say? You're not going to get it? He has no ability, but I think as a leader, he doesn't want to say, get to that supermarket right now, like I did. When I heard the initial CDC, I told my wife, I want 2 months. I want all the drugs that we have. I need 2 months supply. I bought three of the 3M masks immediately. I did all this within an hour of the first CDC comment, which basically just said, listen,
wow,
hug the
I
kids.
haven't done anything.
I did every one.
I did it
because the CDC suggested it.